Hi, ladies. I want to do a video about Big Mama's house. I keep seeing men in these videos. I'm not gonna put them in here because I'm not gonna give them, the exposure that they so desperately want. Let's talk for a minute about how Big Mama's house, the house that they keep referring to from their childhood, worked. And as children, you don't really know how it works. All right. You assume a lot that it just is kind of magical. Oh, we go to Big Mama's house. She always got some food for us. There's plenty of love. And I want to know why it's not like that anymore. These women are the reason it's not like that anymore. Okay. But what they don't realize is in the background, there's stuff going on that a little kid would never see. Okay. Um, there was a father there, a man. My mother's house, the house that I grew up in, was the house that everybody came to. Okay, my mother always had food. She always had plenty of room. She had a huge couch that could probably sleep 3 people. All right, that's just how it was at my mother's house when I was growing up. So my mother's house was that house. Okay, it was the house where all the family parties took place because it was also the biggest house in the family. All right, we would get together for birthdays. We would have cookouts. We would have, gatherings during the week. It wasn't called, my mother wasn't called that because actually another family member actually had that title. But the same essence was there. All right. People would come by just to hang out with my mother. Okay. Because she was that kind of person. But what people and children don't realize is that there is a man that provides all of that. My father, although I don't mention him a lot, was a working man. Okay, he was a working man. He, in my childhood, worked two jobs, and it was not uncommon for the men in my neighborhood to have 2 jobs. Okay, because remember I said that there was a lot of children in our neighborhood, and when you have a lot of children, you can't drop your kids off at daycare. That daycare didn't even exist when I was a child. That was not even something that was invented in the 60s and the 70s. That came later. The reason that Big Mama's house functioned the way that it did was because there was a grandfather there. All right. He was the one that provided the roof over your head. He was the one that paid for the food that you ate. He was the one that provided the safety. So when you came in the door and shut it, nobody came in here on you. All right. That was the men in the family that did that. Now, these men are not willing to provide that because they don't even realize it was present. All right. They think it was magical and that there should always be, that in a family. But for that to be a part of a family, to have that atmosphere, it requires a husband, a father present in the home. Because you don't get that without that. Okay. What you get is a poor, struggling woman who's trying to raise her kids. That's a different story. What you get is a woman who really doesn't want to be bothered with the world. She has no time or energy to nurture because she is only hanging by a thread. All right. If you're a stay-at-home housewife, you have time to cook and bake and clean. And so when the grandkids come over, come on in, baby, have a seat. What's going on? She'll feed you and listen to you and provide a safe place for you to play and have fun. But all of that came about, all of that Big Mama stuff came about because there was a granddad there. Okay, Big Mama, for those who don't know, typically is the grandmother of the family. Okay, she is the one who does all the nurturing. Okay, my mother played that part because by the time I was born, my mother was already a grandmother. Okay, so I understand how the Big Mama scenario works in men's mind, that I want a place I can go that's safe. But as a child, it's magical. As an adult, it requires people who are responsible, adults that provide the shelter, the house, the food that you ate, a safe place for you to be. Okay, a yard that was tended because, baby, we spent a lot of time in our yard. So that when you came over to play, it was pretty. There was flowers. It looked nice. It smelled nice. The grass was cut. The leaves were raked. Whatever was going on, there were people in that household that did that. And these men's magical thinking of how Big Mama's house worked is the problem that only a child assumes that it just appeared and I want to make it appear again. No, that's not how it works. You want to have Big Mama's house? You have to create it. Okay? You create that through your actions with your family. If you're a man hanging out here making babies and not taking care of them, no. If you're a man out here, oh, well, you know, I want a woman to do this, that, and the other. No, because if you hear what they're saying, they're talking about a woman nurturing, loving, and caring for younger people. If a man does not provide for that, he doesn't get that. He doesn't get to come home to hot pots because he's not providing. If his wife has got to go out and work just like he does, well, he get his hot pot, maybe, maybe not. Depends on when she get home from work, because you've made her go out in the world and work. So I just wanted to address that, because that is the fantasy that lives in some of these men's minds, and they don't understand what is required to get that. It is not a simple matter. It never has been. It never was. All right. Big Mama's house didn't appear out of the sky. It was the work of not only Big Mama, but Grandpa, all right, working together in a household that was established over many, many, many years. Okay. That didn't happen overnight. Okay. Because by the time I was born, my parents had been together and had already raised one family, and they were now raising a second. So they had all of the requirements to be that house. All right. So the fantasy world is just that. No, honey, you can't go back to Big Mama's house because you haven't made a Big Mama's house. That's how Big Mama's house comes about. You have to make it.